Okay, so the question with this particular topic or with this particular team is it's not even multi-layered. It's a very basic question, and it requires a very straightforward answer, and that is looking at Orlando Pirates. Have their signings put them in a position to contest for the league second half of the season? And we have to assess this in a very fair manner. What Orlando Pirates has done is I'm gonna give you another realistic everyday situation some of us have been in, some of us have not. And I feel sorry for whoever has been in this situation, but it's like starting you start living with your partner, right? You move into the same house or an apartment or a studio, whichever one you feel comfortable with. And you say to them, babe, I love you. Ne? But I'm noticing that you have a few bad habits of which I'd like us to address. And one of them is like, you need to keep your room a little bit tidy. Put your things away so it looks neat, it looks presentable, looks tidy. And then they say, okay, cool. The following day, you get back home, you expect them to have tidied their room. But instead, they're painting the roof. Like, it's good that you're painting the roof, but that's not what I asked you to address. I asked you to tidy up your room. Instead, you're doing something that was never even a problem. Like, sure, painting the roof to make it look nice is a good thing because then it looks very beautiful from the outside. And when people drive by or walk by, they'll be like, "Oh, there's a beautiful color on the roof. Mwah, muy caliente." All of that good stuff. But I asked you to do your laundry, fix up your room, tidy up your own personal space, so that and it's like you're creating a conflict that's unnecessary, of which you could have avoided by just addressing the initial issue. And that's what I feel Orlando Pirates has done. Orlando Pirates have made three signings, technically two, but on paper it's three people coming into the club. Right? Tshegofatso Mabaso comes back on loan from Roca Swallows for obvious reasons. Um, you have them signing a super spot midfielder on loan, Talent Mbata. Um, but is it talent or talent? Talent, whether it's an age, Talent Mbata from Super Sport United on loan, of which he wasn't making them any appearances anyway, which is sort of a bit of a shocking signing. And then Tebiso Lubizo from Chiba United, who's a forward, right? So you look at the signings and you're just like, well, that doesn't make sense. Showcase, you lose Lodge in your attack, but he wasn't really used that much in the first 11 anyway. He more lost came on as a sub and missed some large chunks of the season. So you had found a way to create an offensive system that doesn't necessarily pin around him or depend on him. So now why do you go out in the market and get offensive players? You don't address the actual issue that you'll have, which is what conceding goals. Right? Sure, you may have an aging midfield. It's aging but still quality, so it can still play. Right? You could fix it in the summer, but you didn't address anything of which you needed to address, which was the defense. You have Makaringe and Hoto, who are quality fly halves, right? But quality wing backs. Uh, but they're not. That's not their natural positions. They're naturally offensive players. Now, if you put in them as a left wing back and right wing back, you're putting them in a jeopardized position of which they like the defensive aspect of their game. They try. I'm not gonna. They really try their best to do so, but they're better in the offensive third rather than the defensive third. You have one of your key defensive players is out, right, on injury. You're struggling to put together a defensive solid piece that helps you stop preventing conceding goals. Instead, you add more offensive firepower. So now you get fully to Jose Riviero and his technical team are fully giving on to the idea of we won't try and defend against you, but we'll definitely try not score you. If you can score three, we'll try and score four. If you score two, we'll try and score three. That seems to be the approach to this entire thing. Why I say that? Because you've signed three players, technically two, and two of them are forwards. And one of them is a midfielder who normally he midfielders naturally contribute to the offensive third, right? So Konamanje, what are we actually thinking? What is our thought process throughout all of this? And going back to the question of, do their signings put them in an opportunity to challenge offensively in the second half of the season for the title second half of the season? I don't think so. I think it still keeps them in the position of which they were already in. Pirates' issue was never scoring goals; it's conceding goals. Y'all were winning against Stellenbosch, and then y'all started conceding. Y'all were winning against which is the other game that they drew? Oh my goodness, I forgot the other game. I forgot the other team that they played, and then they drew that game. Like you open yourself up to conceding goals. Okay, they lost 3-2 against Ladies. I forgot the team they played the week before, which they drew the game. You are opening yourself up defensively, and you're very easy to break down. But you're not addressing that. It seems as though you're content with the defensive pieces that you have, but numbers speak otherwise. Out of the top six, Orlando Pirates have conceded the second most goals with 15. The most is 19, and those that has been conceded by SuperSport United, of which they haven't even gotten into them. But focusing on Ipagania, you're leaving yourselves open to a lot. And I don't think the decisions that you're making are good. Address the issue. Don't beat around the bush. What are you afraid of? It's like it doesn't, it puzzles. I've heard of coaches who don't care about defense. I never thought it was an actual thing until now. I'm seeing under Jose Rivera, but he's so attack orientated that defensively he really doesn't care much. Oh, it was against Supersport. Yeah, they lost 3-2 against Supersport. Yeah. No, they lost 3-1 against Supersport. Yeah. It's one of those. It's really one of those. But maybe they don't care about challenging for the league title. Maybe it's us putting the wrong assumption on them. Maybe they don't want better for themselves. That's why they don't tidy up their room or clean up or fix up their defense. Maybe they are fine where they're at. Just my personal opinion. That's me.